calling to order the Thursday, March 26, 2026 meeting of the Bloomington Historic Preservation Commission commission to order. Would staff please call the roll?
Drew Herron. Jack Baker.
Here.
John Butler.
Here.
Ernesto Castaneda. Melanie Dusner. Karen Duffy. Here.
Perfect.
Jeff Golden.
Here.
Jeremy Hackert.
Here.
Abby Hansen. Here.
Perfect timing.
Daniel Schlegel.
Here.
We have quorum.
Excellent. I have a motion on the minutes from March 12th.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
I have one
Oh,
Okay. Sorry.
edit I would suggest. On COA 2611, it lists the owner as attending virtually, but the owner was here in person.
Thank you for that.
Good eye for detail.
Yeah, I know that's super finicky, but
so move to approve subject to that change.
And I will second that.
okay, so we have motion approved, subject to my change, seconded by John Butler. Or was it already changed?
I guess the petitioner was.
The petitioner was online, but the owner was present.
The petitioner was online and the
Mhm.
owner was here in
Yeah.
person.
Yes.
Okay, all right, great. So we have a motion moved and seconded to accept the minutes with that correction. We'll go ahead and take a vote. Jack Baker.
Yes.
John Butler.
Yes.
Karen Duffy.
Yes.
Jeff Golden.
Yes.
Jeremy Hackert.
Yes.
Abby Hansen.
Yes.
Daniel Schlegel.
I'll abstain, I wasn't here.
The minutes are approved.
Okay, next up we have the election of treasurer. We are required by the city council to have a treasurer for this commission. We have $0. But if anybody would like to nominate themselves or nominate someone for treasurer, I would be willing to hear a motion.
I'll nominate John Butler.
That nomination.
Do we have a second to nominate
Second.
Commissioner Butler? We have a second. Any discussion? Any strenuous objections?
Any
Okay.
other nominees?
Yes, are there any other nominees? Hearing none, I think we're ready to call the roll.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept John Butler as treasurer. We'll take that vote. Jack Baker.
Yes.
John Butler.
Yes.
Karen Duffy.
Yes.
Jeff Golden.
Yes.
Jeremy Hackert.
Yes.
Abby Hansen.
Yes.
Daniel Schlegel.
Oh, yes.
And may I please have for the record who made that motion and who seconded it?
I made the motion.
Thank you.
And then second was Jeff
Jeff.
Goldman.
Thank you.
All right, so it passes. Congratulations, Treasurer
Thank
Butler.
you so much.
Very good.
Yes.
Wear one of those banker visors from.
Yes, please come prepared. All right, next up, discussion point, procedural adjustments. We adopted Robert's rules at our last meeting. So there's a couple of things that we're going to need to tweak going forward. The basic format of how we've been doing things is pretty much on point. There's just some tweaks, so I was going to go over those just so we're all on the same page. Per Robert's rules, I'll be more formal in referring to folks. I'm going to try to do that so it'll always be Commissioner so-and-so, no first names. I encourage everybody to also adopt that sort of format. For comments, when we do the comments period, everybody is allowed to comment up to 2 times. So if you've said something we've gone through and you want to respond to something else, you're allowed to do that. I just ask people raise their hands and I can return to them. But it is a limit of 2 times. So just so we're all aware of that function. Whoever makes a motion is given the chance to speak first. So if anybody moves to approve or deny anything, I will start the conversation with them and then we'll be able to go around the room and have our comments. For public comments, there's a 3-minute time limit for when people are talking. That'll be regularly enforced. Going forward, I will restate the motions or the motion before asking for a second. That is a common thing. So previously I should have said Commissioner Schlegel has moved that Commissioner Butler be named treasurer. Is there a second? So I'll start taking on that sort of format. So I might get tongue-tied on that. I ask for a little bit of patience as I'm trying to get used to that. I'll also announce the results of the vote and state if it has passed or not. I have Robert's rules here. Anna's got Robert's rules. So if we get into a conundrum on something, we can do deep research. Hopefully, typically don't need that level of detail, but we're going to try to adhere to the Robert's rules as best we can. So any sort of questions about that? No? Okay. Just wanted to make sure we were kind of all on the same page. So next up, we have staff review of certificates of appropriateness. I will turn it over to Mr. Sandwich.
Thanks. So first up on the agenda this evening, 411 South Ballantyne, in the Elm Heights Historic District. Petitioner is Michael King. This house is an excellent example of a Tudor revival / English cottage style. Notable features include the asymmetrical facade and steeply pitched roof. The textured brick facade is unusual, though reminiscent of early English cottages which inspired this style. The arched door and 6/6 wood sash windows are still present at this house, and this house has not been altered since construction, not substantially. A wood deck protrudes over an edge at the back of the house. The design is very conventional. The request proposed is to demolish the existing deck and replace it with a wood deck of slightly greater dimensions. Let's see. So it'll be extended 4 feet in length from the rear of the house. Also, the railing is to be brought up to 4 feet in height, which is slightly taller than 36 inches of the current railing. And staff approves COA 2616. This application does not involve the removal or damage of historic materials and would replace an existing feature to the rear of the property. The differences in design between the current and proposed decks is minor and would not inappropriately increase the feature's visibility or scale. Okay. I hope you enjoyed that, because there's more decks where I came from. Okay. 1305 South Madison Street in the McDowell Historic District. This is for petition COA 2618. 1305 South Madison Street is a severely altered 1925 California bungalow with an enclosed mid-century limestone front porch. A second-story wood deck protrudes from the rear of the property. This application would seek to increase the length of the rear deck perpendicular to the back of the house from 16 feet in length to 20 feet in length. But otherwise the height and width would be retained. And staff approves CA 2618 for the same reasons. This application does not involve the removal or damage of historic materials and would replace an existing feature to the rear of the property. The differences in design between the current and proposed decks is negligible.
Thank you, Mr. Sandweiss. For those who were joining us online for their staff approvals, those are approved, so congratulations. Next up, we have COAs for commission review. I'm going to read our statement on procedure for this. For each item on the agenda, the Historic Preservation Program Manager will first present a staff report. We will then hear if the petitioner has any additional information about the request, followed by public comment. Once public comment concludes, commissioners will be able to ask questions to staff, the petitioner, and the public. We ask that petitioners, the public, and commissioners refrain from speaking until addressed by the chair, unless the question is directly addressed to them. Following commissioner questions, the chair will entertain a motion from a commissioner regarding the petition. Once a motion is made, we will then open up a discussion of the item for members of the commission only. Finally, once the commissioners have each had a chance to speak, actually a chance to speak twice, the commission will vote on the petition. We encourage all commissioners, petitioners, and members of the public to be civil and respectful at all times. All right, Mr. Sandweiss.
Thank you, Mr. Hackard. All right, this petition is COA 2617. Petitioner is Craig Furman. Is the petitioner present?
I am, thank you.
All right, great. 509 West Allen in the McDowell Historic District is a notable example of a colonial revival house. Notable features contributing to this house include the cornice returns, limestone sills and lintels, the brick siding, the front porch, the original wood windows and doors throughout the house, the limestone belt course at the foundation line, the limestone foundation, and that the house remains largely unchanged from the date of construction. This application would seek to replace the asphalt shingle roof with a matte charcoal gray standing seam roof. Existing trim and chimney would remain uncovered. The recommendation from staff is for approval of COA 2617. The McDowell Historic District guidelines on roofs are somewhat unusual, as in some circumstances, a specific roofing material can contribute significantly to a building's architectural integrity. This district includes a mix of folk Victorian, craftsman, and colonial revival style houses, most of which have either asphalt shingle or standing seam roofs. Although some of these are replacements, they're generally associated with these architectural movements. Nevertheless, the significance of historic roofing material needs consideration, particularly on a building of notable architectural significance. The contributing brick house next door has had its asphalt shingle roof replaced with a gray standing seam roof in the late 2010s. Some of the features that warrant this building's notable rating on the state survey include its portico, crenellated stone fence, and original 4/1 windows. In the opinion of staff, the replacement of the existing roofing material would not result in a downgrading of this property's survey rating. Does the petitioner have anything that he would like to add?
No, I think you covered it well, and I appreciate your considering this.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any public comments regarding this petition? In room? Online? Now is the time to make any comments, by the way, about this petition. Staff see anybody?
I do not.
Okay, well, I think we'll start off with questions then. Commissioner Baker, do you have any questions?
Yes, is the intent of the petitioner to duplicate the roof that's next door? It's looks like a standing seam, black, non-reflective. Is it your intent to pretty much be very similar or identical to that roof?
I think in the ballpark, but the roof next to us is not standing seam. I don't know the right word for it, but it's the other kind of metal roof.
All right.
So what we're trying to do is an actual standing seam. And the roof next door is kind of reflective and shiny. We're going to get one that is, if approved, we're going to get one that is not reflective at all, just so it doesn't, blind neighbors. I think it'd be less of an issue with it being a two-story house in a neighborhood that's mostly one story, but still, we want to get a premium roof that's actually standing seam and then has the sort of powdered, less reflective tone to it.
Thank you. I see a color palette here with three different shades. Which color are you looking at?
I think we're flexible on that, but my wife and I found ourselves drawn to the middle one, I guess, because we think it would complement the brick, and I mean, the brick is why we fell in love with the house, and I think what's most distinctive about it. So something that sort of doesn't take away from the brick and from the white trim.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Golden, any questions?
No questions.
Treasurer Butler, any questions?
No questions.
Commissioner Schlegel?
No question.
Commissioner Hanson?
No questions.
Commissioner Duffy?
No questions.
I have a question for our esteemed staff member. For colonial revival houses, how common is it to see a standing seam metal roof on them?
So for this period, it would usually be either asphalt or slate shingle. It's not particularly unusual. A lot of colonial or colonial revival houses have in time had replacement standing seam roofs, which that technology has been in use in the US. I mean, increasingly, I'd say since like mid-century.
Okay. Would, in your opinion, do you
Mhm.
think the standing seam roof with the color that they're choosing, do you think it would match the appearance of the historic material?
Yeah, in my opinion. Something that I mentioned in my staff report is something that's a little unusual in the McDowell guidelines, the way that they handle roofing materials, is that the preferable recommendation, is to maintain the original materials or those used by contributing properties nearby. That's a little difficult because there could be instances where roofing material really does contribute a lot to what characterizes the architectural style of a house. I don't think that for this house, and in general this style, although some exceptions, that this change to roofing materials would have much of an impact on its historic or architectural significance.
Okay. And because it's notable, could be eligible for National Register nominations, would the replacement with this roof material, do you think it would affect
No.
that?
That's really part of my consideration here.
Okay.
I don't think that's one of the factors that really contributes to this building's significance.
Okay, thank you very much, appreciate that. Okay, any other follow-up questions from anyone? All right, I will entertain a motion on the COA.
Move to approve COA 26-17.
Okay, Commissioner Golden has moved to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a second by Commissioner Schlegel. Commissioner Golden, you want to offer any comments?
I think that there's not gonna be much difference based on what I've seen before and the colors they're choosing and the appearance of the roof, other than the standing seams. So I think that this is acceptable.
Okay, Commissioner Schlegel, you seconded. Do you have any other comments you want?
I have nothing else to add to what Commissioner Golden said.
All right, thank you very much. We'll go around there. Vice Chair Baker, anything?
I agree that it just doesn't do really anything to change the appearance or the historic character of the house. It's a two-story house. Anyone walking by will not see the roof. You have to be some distance away to see it. I don't find the roof objectionable from a historic preservation point of view, and I agree with the staff recommendation.
Treasurer Butler.
Yeah, I think this is fine in terms of historical preservation. I don't see how it would interfere with that at all. I have a standing seam roof on my house. It was installed about 15 years ago, and we are going to have to replace it because it was poorly installed. So I would just warn the petitioner to select a very good company, because it can go wrong. So those are my comments.
Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, per the staff recommendation, it doesn't seem like it would impact the state survey or National Historic Registry status if that were to come into play, so I have no objections.
Commissioner Duffy.
I would support it for the same reason. I think Mr. Samwise thought it through very carefully and very well.
Yes, for me, I think our program manager's explanation of going through those questions and answering them satisfied my curiosities and my concerns. So I will be supporting this going forward. All right, any other secondary comments anyone wants to make? All right, would staff please call the roll for approval of COA 2617?
Okay, so that has been moved and seconded. We'll take a roll call vote. Vice Chair Baker,
Yes.
Treasurer Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner Duffy,
Yes.
Commissioner Golden,
Yes.
Chair Hackard,
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Schlegel.
Yes.
That motion does pass 7-0.
All right, the motion approves. All right, to our petitioner, thank you very much for submitting this and for visiting us today. All right, next up, we have COA 2619. Mr. Sandweiss, take it away.
All right. This application, for certificate of appropriateness 2619 is for 301 East Glendora Drive in the Matlock Heights Historic District. Is the petitioner present?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. This is a contributing 1957 ranch. Features 3 picture windows and a recessed side porch. In August of 2025, the current petitioner applied for the addition of a basement egress window on the east elevation. The commission failed to achieve a quorum at the upcoming August 28th meeting, and the petitioner was informed that this item had been rescheduled to September 11th. Although the petitioner answered subsequent questions from staff, he was not in attendance for the subsequent meeting. Between September 11th and October 5th, the city was informed of the work described in the application had been completed without the granting of a certificate of appropriateness. A notice of violation was sent to the listed address on October 6th, 2025, and a follow-up letter was sent on November 17th. Neither letter received a reply. The subsequent application for retroactive approval was received after the Department of Housing and Neighborhood Development established direct contact with the property owner. So, as then, this application is for the now retroactive approval of a window installed at the basement level of the east elevation of 301 East Glendora Drive. You can see here where a window well has been installed and flashing along the limestone, as well as a layout of the new basement bedroom in which the egress window has been added. Does the petitioner have anything else that he would like to add?
No thanks.
Okay, so the staff recommendation in this case is for approval of 2619. While the added window is visible from the road east of the property, its low profile and covered well minimize its overall impact. A white transom is the most noticeable part of the installation. Installed in a secondary elevation at the basement level below an existing window, its impact on the historic material and character defining features does not appear significant. That being said, without a sufficiently detailed description of the visible exterior alteration, it cannot be approved or exempted from review as a matter of faith.
All right. Are there any public comments regarding COA 2619? In the room? Looks like no. Online? Okay, well, we'll start off with commissioner questions. Vice Chair Baker, do you have any questions?
For the petitioner, you put us in a peculiar position, having to review this, already done. My question is, why? Why did you go ahead and install this when you received notice at least twice that you needed to come before the commission?
Yeah, I apologize about that. I showed up to the first meeting and I didn't realize that it had been canceled. I hadn't received any notification because there was no quorum, and then after that I just forgot about it, and the letters were sent to the, not to my home address, so I didn't actually receive them. You know, I believe that they were sent, and then we had contractors line up so that they installed it. So as you can see, right, the window is there for the safety of that new bedroom.
Thank you.
Commissioner Golden, do you have any?
No questions.
Treasurer Butler?
No questions.
Commissioner Schlegel? Commissioner Hanson?
No question.
Commissioner Duffy?
No questions.
I don't think I have any questions either, so I will entertain a motion on the COA.
So moved. I forget which number it is.
2619.
2619. To approve COA 2619.
Okay, Commissioner Schlegel has moved to approve, seconded by Commissioner Golden. Commissioner Schlegel, would you like to offer any comments?
Not at this time.
At this time, Commissioner Golden, you second. Do you have any other comments?
No,
on that?
no other comments.
All right, Vice Chair Baker.
Don't like being put in this position. It was close to being fined or a lien and/or a lien put on the house. Could have been avoided. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Treasurer Butler.
I agree with Vice Chair Baker's concerns about the sort of timeline of this, but I feel that overall the change is tolerable. It doesn't seem to have affected the historic fabric, and so I will vote to approve it.
Okay. Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, I second those comments and I don't have anything to add.
Commissioner Duffy.
I have nothing to add. I'm in agreement with the comments expressed.
I think my comments would be just to, if you are going to do any other work on this house, or if you have any other historic homes, just make sure you're checking in with our program manager on any COAs that might need to be done, and make sure you get those submitted before you do any work on future things. I think perhaps maybe this time we lucked out on this one, but we just want to make sure we do everything in the order that it should be done. So I just ask that you think about that in the future. Yes, go ahead.
That prompts me a comment,
Yeah.
a thought, that be sure, if that does happen, if you want to do more work, make sure that that you give the office your correct address
Yes.
for any future contact.
Yes, that's a great point. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, I believe we're ready to call the roll.
Okay, we'll take a roll call vote on COA 2619. There is a motion to approve. Vice Chair Baker.
I'm going to say before I vote that if this comes up, anything like this comes up again from this house or others that the petitioner might own, might bring to us, the vote might be different, but I'm going to be easy this time and vote yes.
Treasurer Butler.
I vote yes.
Commissioner Duffy.
Yes.
Commissioner Golden.
Yes.
Chair Hacker.
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson.
Yes.
Commissioner Schlegel.
Yes.
That motion is approved 7-0.
All right, thank you very much for coming in.
I appreciate it.
Next up, we have COA 2620, Mr. Sanwas.
All right, petition for COA 2620. This is for 2320 North Fritz Drive in the Matlock Heights Historic District. Petitioner is Ian Yarbrough. Is the petitioner present? All right. This request is for the addition of 4 large contiguous windows on the front-facing facade of an enclosed addition, and an additional large squarish window on the north end of the addition. I'll show you what I mean. Built in 1950, 2320 North Fritz Drive is a massed ranch with some populous modern features, including its front door and horizontally oriented transom windows. On its north stands an enclosed carport or patio. As you can see here, this is for the request of the installation of the windows so described. The staff recommendation is for approval of COA 2620. The additional windows on what appears to be an enclosed patio or carport would not alter the contributing features of the house. The fact that this addition has been visibly altered from its original appearance means that the addition of the new windows to this appendix of the building would not convey a false sense of history, while the new fenestration pattern complements the house's mid-century aesthetic and references the original open nature of this part of the house. Does the petitioner have anything that he would like to add?
No, I did have one recommendation from a friend that the smaller 2 windows on that north side, I'm probably going to move those up to align with that new window, and then move them back a little bit. I kind of have a sketch up here of like the just kind of like make them more evenly distributed. But other than that.
Are there any public comments on this petition in the room? Any comments online? No? All right. right, we'll start off with questions. We'll start, well, Melanie just got here. Vice Chair Baker, do you have any questions?
I heard what you said, but it didn't tweak. Could you go over that again?
Right, so those two existing windows, the smaller, higher, I guess, it's not really
Could you
double
go up and point to them, please?
Oh, go all the way up there?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, it would make things a lot clearer.
These two, yeah.
Thank you.
We're gonna kind of more evenly distribute them across that side of the wall and then bring them up to align with the top of the new window. Kind of.
And that's the sketch you have.
Sort of
I got you. Thank you.
pass this around.
Are you planning, are these large plate glass without mullions, without any kind of grills, just
Yes.
plain?
Yeah.
And as I understand it, the two end windows are hinged to open out?
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. And they're somewhat taller. Are they, how much taller are they than the one window just around the corner that's the original? It looks to be 6 or 8 inches.
It should be about the same. I think that's what we ordered was 45 inches tall, and that's what the existing windows are.
That's the height of that window that's existing?
Right, the height of the front window, that double hung.
Thank you.
Commissioner Golden, do you have any questions?
No question.
Treasurer Butler,
No question.
Commissioner Schlegel,
Could you go back one slide, actually? Okay. Okay, no questions.
Commissioner Hanson.
You mentioned that the addition had already had some alterations, I think, but I didn't catch what those were.
So it was originally an open area that looks like it has since been enclosed.
And the inside wall of the original, I guess, it's a brick molding going into the kitchen, and then there's also siding behind the wallboard in there. So as part of the renovation, we're tearing all that out to get it to just straight wallboard. But used to be an exterior wall at one point.
That answers my question, thank you.
Commissioner Dusner, do you have any questions? Commissioner Duffy.
No, I was gonna ask about those two little windows, so I appreciate that you've thought that out.
And we'll be closing up the other two openings on the wall as well, the weird, strange heater vent, and then the window AC that's in there.
Okay. I don't have any questions. So I think I will entertain a motion on COA 2620.
I have one
Oh,
question. I
yeah,
thought.
please.
What, you described this house as do you describe it as a ranch? Is that what-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you.
I actually, if you don't mind me asking a question or
Please, go
point of
ahead.
order,
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify whether any motion that would be made, and I guess this would be up to whoever's making the motion, would include the described additional work, moving those two existing windows and any changes to the exterior
Well,
mechanicals.
it'll be up to whoever makes a motion,
Right.
so we'll see what we get.
I move to approve COA 26-20, including the exhibit presented to us today, moving the two small windows on the side of the.
Okay, so Commissioner Golden has moved to approve COA 26-20 with the additional windows, and Commissioner Duffy seconds. All right, Commissioner Golden, you have any comments?
It looks like a good project. It's not gonna change the appeal of this house and probably make that room a lot more functional, so I'm gonna support it.
Okay, Commissioner Duffy.
I like the way it complements the mid-century modern look.
All right. Commissioner Dusner, any comments? Commissioner Hanson?
No.
Commissioner Schlegel?
I agree with Commissioner Duffy and her comments, so I'll support it as well.
Treasurer Butler?
I really like this proposal. I think this is exactly in the style and flavor of the house, and so I'm very happy to support it.
Vice Chair Baker?
I agree with the staff recommendation and the changes to the two small existing windows.
As for me, I think it's a contributing house. This is already an addition that's had work done on it. They're just kind of making it better. So I really have no issues with this at all. So, Okay, any other second comments from anybody before we move on? No? Okay, I believe we're ready to call the roll.
All right, we'll take a roll call vote on COA 2620. Vice Chair Baker,
Yes.
Treasurer Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner Dusner,
Yes.
Commissioner Duffy,
Yes.
Commissioner Golden,
Yes.
Chair Hackard,
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Schlegel.
Yes.
That motion is approved 8-0.
All right, the motion passes. All right, thank you very much for coming in and talking to us and for giving us all the plans. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have on the agenda is old business. Mr. Sandwise, do we have any old business to discuss?
I don't have any old business.
Anybody have any other old business they'd like to go over? The way you said that.
That's awesome.
All right, new business. So last time we met, we talked about being able to go through and review the rules and procedures document. Mr. Sandweiss uploaded into our Google Docs some documents that showed some changes, proposed changes that I had kind of written out. I was going to go through some of those, talk through sort of like my reasoning, open up the floor, see if people have different reasoning or other sort of areas where they might want to make suggestions. My goal here is to have a conversation. We're not going to vote on anything tonight because I think what we'd want to do, have a conversation. No one would need to prepare something like what we did last time, where it was kind of like a resolution if we're going to adopt this kind of stuff. And we'll see if we need to continue this to discussion to another meeting or if he will make up something for the next time. I just want to lay that out for everybody. So first off, if you go into the document itself, there's Article 1 is meetings. So Article 1A, that's where it had previously said we always have 2 meetings every month, or the second and fourth Thursdays of every month. That does not apply in November because that would be Thanksgiving, and then in December, I mean, that's like right around Christmas. We never meet then. So my suggested wording changes in that was from January to October, the commission shall meet the second and fourth Thursdays of every month at 5, and then for November and December, the commission shall meet on the second Thursday of the month only. Just to make that very clear and clean up anything, and like, I can't imagine, like, how mad would a petitioner be if we were doing something on Thanksgiving? And I wouldn't be here, so. Also, in that section, Article 1D, I made a slight change. The agenda, and I entered in for regularly scheduled meetings shall be set at least 6 days before each meeting and emailed to members. I think for like other meetings where I think there's a possibility of calling like a, I don't know, emergency meeting or whatever, that time frame might not hold up. So I was trying to be clear of if it's regularly scheduled meeting, it needs to be the 6 days, just to make sure we're all on the same page for that. Section 1F, where it's talking about decisions and recommendations shall be by roll call vote, and then I put in who is like keeping track of that stuff, and I was suggesting this secretary and or hand staff shall record the vote of each commissioner. So just saying who's doing it and making that perfectly clear in that section. Let's see, section 1I. This might be old because I don't know if I did this on the part where we adopted some of the new rules, so just bear with me a little bit. Section 1I said all minutes or tape recordings of the proceedings. I just said recordings, like we're not tape recording anything. And I don't think we need to start doing that again to meet this. I think that would be insane. And then toward the end of that section, there's 1K. It's just talking about, basically there's places where we're saying hand staff or staff liaison. I was just trying to clean it all up and make it consistent throughout. And any place where it was in between, I just kind of made all of them hand staff, I believe, just to make it very clear of that's who this is. We're always consistently referring to those folks in that way. And then the last item that's in that section 1L it said, upon resignation of a commission member, the mayor within 90 days shall appoint a new member for the remainder of the resigning member's term. We have no power to compel the mayor to do that at all. So I think this is kind of, it doesn't hold weight. So I'm just suggesting we get rid of it.
It's also already in state law and in our code, so we don't
Yeah.
need to have it here.
Okay.
We could say something like, we shall request the mayor to,
I would leave that one alone.
I think just based on practice and what has happened, I mean, we can't compel whoever is the mayor to make any nominations at all. And this being in here is not going to do anything one way or the other, except for set up a false expectation, in my opinion. So that is why I suggested we strike that. But people disagree, that's totally fine. Okay. Next up was officers. This is where we've added the treasurer and secretary.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
please.
So I went back and looked at all of your edits, and I had a couple of things to add
Great.
to be consistent with the changes.
Yeah.
From the council, and your M, you had an M in there that was the removal for cause. So when, as you know, losing your residency in the city or too many absences, you forfeit your seat. And so we're trying to do more training and kind of get people up to speed. So one of the things in the new code of conduct is the attendance policy, and that would constitute cause for removal. So there's language in there now that just says exactly what the changes say to the code, which basically is that you can be removed for cause, and that cause is, violation of the code of conduct or absenteeism, and that it describes what absenteeism is. So it's just to make it consistent.
I have a question about the absenteeism. Who keeps that record, and, who's watching whether we're here or not, and who notifies us? I found the language kind of stiff.
So the secretary, or the recording secretary, keeps it in the minutes. The clerk's office actually is in charge of all of our boards and commissions, and so the deputy clerk has been the one assigned to boards and commissions, and that's like 100% of her job, is looking at
Okay.
all of that. The letters come from the clerk's office to notify people if they've been removed due to absenteeism. So we'll be running everything through the clerk's office from now on. And
You
they'll-
mean we send the minutes to the clerk's office and they
She
look
will
to
either
see-
work with the staff liaison,
file?
either she gets in and looks at them, or she'll ask for a report.
Okay.
Or, I don't know, I think these are things that we're still trying to figure out, like whether it's
Okay.
on the staff liaison to notify that somebody's been absent twice
That's
in a
what I
row,
wondered.
those kinds of things.
I mean, we are staff required to keep a record of who attends. So, I mean, the way that this has worked in the past and that I anticipate it working in the future is if this becomes an issue, that we will have to actively share that with the clerk's office.
Okay.
I've also been I just kind of keep an eye on who's coming and going as well, and might just mention something to Noah on, have we heard from
Okay.
someone in a while?
Good.
Just to kind of,
Mhm.
because sometimes stuff happens and people can't do anything, so,
Absolutely.
they might need to move on, but
Mhm.
I kind of will check in on that. Commissioner Schlegel.
So I actually had a question on that, so I'm not sure, Anna, if it's for you, for Noah, or for Jeremy. For instance, like, since I have a board I report to at the History Center, they will at least twice a year shift our meetings, which are always third Thursdays. So I guarantee you twice a year, I'm gonna miss them 2 meetings, which already puts me half down, and if I take a 2-week vacation, that's
Right.
gonna strike me down again. Like, I mean, I'm gonna have strike out. So I just wanted to clarify, is there an excused absence for, like, when I let Noah know, like, hey, Noah, my board moved a meeting, as executive director, I have to attend this.
There
I don't wanna,
There actually is a
Okay.
process for extenuating circumstances, in which you send it to the council, to whoever appointed you, and basically explain that you have the two meeting conflict because of your job responsibilities.
yeah,
And I don't think that gets you out of being removed, but it gives you at least a placeholder. so that they would consider that if they were to consider removal based on absences.
Okay.
The fact that you had given them that notice.
And then same with vacay, because there's almost no time where I can take 2 weeks of a vacation to go overseas and not miss one of these because of the frequency.
Mhm.
So would that be very similar as well, to be able to say, hey, you know, I have this trip planned, don't remove me, because, you know, I would like to go do something fun.
Right.
Not that these
Right.
meetings aren't exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I think that's gonna be a huge thing for anyone else that would be interested. When I've had people ask me if I would join the HPC or the commission again, things like that. I mean, I'd flat out say no if I'm like, hey, I got removed because my board moved 2 meetings, I took a vacation, and then I got sick. They gave me the boot.
Right.
I mean, I think that's gonna be a big black mark on the city, because I know I won't be the only one with that issue.
Sure, for sure.
Could you read what that
I have
exact
that up
language is?
here.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, could
Okay.
you please
Sure.
restate it, please?
Do you want me to read all the removal for cause or just that
Just
last
this,
bit?
the
Just sure.
absenteeism.
Okay. Excessive absenteeism is a failure to attend 3 consecutive regularly scheduled meetings of the board, commission, or council, or 4 regularly scheduled meetings in any 12-month period, provided that any member may submit in writing to the appointing authority any extenuating circumstances. Such written submission may be made within 5 business days before the formal decision to remove is reached. Acceptance of extenuating factors by the appointing official or body puts the member on notice that further excessive absenteeism shall result in removal. And as I've seen, the clerk's office in these cases does reach out to the board member, board or commission member, so it won't be done with 0 notice. So that does provide the opportunity for
So in my
writing to
case,
that
so for
body.
instance, if they noticed that I was gone for, you know,
Mhm.
being sick, the board shifting, took a vacation, they'd reach out to me and then I have to reply within those 5 days or within 5 days of each of the times I missed? Sorry, I was processing all of it.
I'm not sure, but if you already know what, do you know the meetings that your board has already moved those dates?
It's always March, so I missed that one last month, and then sometime around between October, November, December, there's usually something weird that pops up and we shift it.
Okay.
And then I know, for instance, in October, my plan right now is to go overseas, but things might have gotten complicated, so may or may not pull that off. But like, you know, I'm just getting over being sick. I almost stepped down today, but I wanted to make this exact point is,
Right.
because other
Right.
places I've been, at least if you have a valid excuse, like, hey, I was throwing up, I didn't want to be there, make everyone else sick, or hey, I had this other obligation that happens every so often. There's excused absences, so it doesn't sound like the city's granting that, and I just wanted to make sure there was something with
I
that.
think that language is actually intended to allow for those circumstances.
Okay.
It doesn't exactly read like that, which is something we probably do need to address
Okay.
with our committee on council processes, is that there's a committee that works on this. But what I would do is I would go ahead, I mean, you know what the agenda is, you know what the date is, and you can do that 5 day before a meeting
Okay.
notice. So I would go ahead and do that on an individual basis unless you have all your dates for the calendar year and you want to submit that one time at the beginning of the 12-month period.
Okay.
So, and it's a rolling 12 months. So
Okay.
that's the other thing too, is that sometimes it just ends up being one of those things where it's like, yeah, from December to December, it might have been an issue, but since it's a rolling 12 months, you end up being in okay shape. So the intent is not to remove people who are actively participating. The
Okay.
intent is to have a trigger for those that are just not showing up because they just didn't feel like coming.
Yeah, I think
So
I
this
would,
is-
I would also just, in those sort of situations, I would pipe up in support of that sort of stuff. In your situation in particular, I mean, you attend pretty regularly, so like, I think it would be nuts if we just kind of were like, okay, we gotta give Commissioner Schlegel the boot now, because he got sick. Like, you know,
That's not what anybody's
And
trying
so when
to
it says
do.
appointing authority, I mean, do I have to literally like write a note to the mayor then, so if I was appointed by the mayor's office?
I would go ahead and write it to the mayor's office with the CC to NOAA. That
Okay.
just,
Mhm.
you know, here's why I'm gonna be absent, and thank you for, and to the clerk's office. So
Okay.
that the clerk's office has a record of it, and NOAA has a record of it, that you've explained your extenuating circumstances.
Okay.
So, I know, it sounds very
Yeah.
procedural, but I think people who are active participants like you will go through that effort of doing that, and the ones that aren't showing up are not gonna go, are probably not gonna bother to do this process either, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it,
I think to your point, I feel like the one meeting, missing consecutive meetings over a long period of time, I get. But I think that every once in a while, like, everybody deserves a vacation.
Yeah.
So
Hope so.
I'm hopeful the city is flexible on this kind of stuff, because we don't want to punish good public servants for doing stuff that we need done.
Agreed.
So, thank you for bringing up that
Yeah,
point.
I'll say, because I'll be testing that this year for sure, just with my,
Yeah.
I know I'm fine being a test case, but I just wanted to publicly state that, because I know this is on the record, not tape recorded, but on the record.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that was really clear really early, because otherwise I'd just resign instead of getting kicked off, so just to make it easier.
All right, Commissioner Dusner, did you have a question?
I know that attending by Zoom, we can't vote, doesn't count toward quorum, but does it count toward our attendance?
So yes, it counts towards your attendance. It doesn't count towards quorum.
Right.
You have to have 50%, you still have to have 50% in the room.
Right.
But
for
you can vote, though,
quorum.
right?
But you can vote unless there's like a list of things you can't vote on, like a budget or, a personnel appointment or something. There's a few things like that that you cannot vote on, but since we don't have any money, that's not gonna be an issue.
Yay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that in terms of like, illness or travel. I may be doing some research travel and that kind of thing, that like attending via Zoom is not a problem, and I'm a little less worried about it now that we have more people.
Right.
So we're more
Yeah.
likely that you, but anyway, that's good to know.
I can bring some additional information. There are some limitations about how much you can do that, so I think it's like 2 meetings in a row, no more than 50% of the overall meetings that they wrote into the state law after they kind of removed all the COVID restrictions, which allowed you to do it all the time. So we can definitely talk about that, but it is allowed on a limited basis, and it doesn't count towards quorum.
Okay.
Any other questions on this first section? Any of the things that we've covered thus far? Okay, so next up, obviously in the Article 2 is officers, where we've added the treasurer and the secretary, since we've already voted those in, and noted that the commission, well, a non-member can serve as secretary. I think we're still working through how exactly we're gonna phrase that, but hopefully maybe by the next meeting we'll have that sort of figured out as to how that appointment process will work, and move forward with that. What are some of the other major things that I changed in here? A lot of the stuff for certificates of appropriateness, some of the sort of like the management of those things was kind of put onto the vice chair. I went through and suggested all the edits that it be hand staff that is handling a lot of that sort of administrative stuff that seems much more a staff thing rather than a commissioner sort of appointment. Let's see what else. And then I think we might want to talk about the procedure for if a petitioner is not attending in a meeting. So I don't know if you want to kind of talk through how we might need to make some edits there. So a petitioner has their thing on the agenda, but they don't show up. Is continuing it considered action or not? So how are we going to handle? Could you kind of talk through that for me?
So we were talking about a situation where, you all have a 30-day clock where if you don't take an action on a certificate of appropriateness, it's deemed approved, and that's state law requirement. And so what about the situation where you accept an application, the person doesn't show up, they don't show up again, you don't have a quorum, and all of a sudden 30 days are over, and they're basically approved, even if some of the lack of effort was on their end. And so we are trying to figure out a way to address that, so that a petitioner can't just not show up enough times to be deemed approved just because our bylaws say that they have to be present, which is actually not part of the state law, that they have to be present in order for their petition to be considered. So something like you guys could have a denial without prejudice, which if they miss one meeting, the next time you take it up, you deny it without prejudice if they're not gonna be there, and say, we're denying without prejudice, we will allow this person to come back with the same application if they notify NOAA within that 12 days prior to the next agenda. Something like that, so that we can allow the person an opportunity not to have to submit a whole new application and get a new application number, but to stop that clock so that people aren't just getting their certificates of appropriateness granted just because they're not showing up. Now, if it's an issue of a quorum, or you guys don't get to it, or something, you know, you guys are on break and it's something that's a commission-related delay, then I think we take our lumps, right?
Yeah.
Because then that's
Yeah.
exactly why that 30-day shot clock is in there, is so that a petitioner doesn't have to wait if the commission is unable to get to their business.
Shot clock. Get about the games.
Shot clock.
I think that makes a lot of sense of just making sure we have some kind of action. And at least for me, I think it would be nice if you would be able to draft maybe some of that language that we could look at and feel much more comfortable coming from you. Of making sure that it kind of complies with all the laws and ordinances and things of that nature.
Okay. And, sorry, I should have mentioned this at the beginning. A continuation is not considered an action for the
Yeah.
purposes of the statute. The action is either approve or deny, and the continuation is just considered kind of a procedural move, so it doesn't, you cannot do it unless you have the approval of the outside party. So if the petitioner for some reason said, oh yeah, I agree to 30 days, I really want to come back, I'm sorry I was sick, or I couldn't be there, then they could submit in writing the fact that they would agree to a continuation, and in that case, that does toll the 30 days. But otherwise, a continuation that's just done on your end does not stop that clock.
Okay. I think that's good, just to make sure we're kind of on the right side of all this stuff, especially if somebody comes back and challenges something.
Right.
We've had the right procedure and have done the right thing, just to ensure the COAs are approved appropriately. So thank you for that. Throughout this section, again, most of these changes were hand staff is being responsible for doing things. Trying to see if any other major tweaks, like there were a couple places where I put in like commas and stuff. I don't know if we need to go into the specific line of where that is. And then let's see if there was any other massive change that I had suggested. I don't think so. I think that kind of was the majority of my sort of major changes that I had suggested. Did other people, when they read through this, were there any points of sort of they had questions or they wanted clarification or something, or perhaps had some suggested language that they think should be added? Or if you didn't do it, that's okay.
I like what you're doing here, and I think that by tightening up and the imaginary force is being removed and it's becoming a person from hand, or, you know, I think that's straightforward, and I think it's the right direction. So I appreciate what you've done, and I'm on the same page.
Okay. So I think maybe next time around, if you can kind of maybe figure out that language for the person not showing up and what we need to do, and maybe share that with Noah, if we could put together sort of that, I don't know, it was a resolution or something?
Right, I could write another version of that resolution.
Yeah, then we could look at it one last time and vote on accepting it or denying it at that time. If people are comfortable with it, or if you'd like another meeting to think about it, I'm okay with that too. I'm happy to hear suggestions on that. Does next meeting sound good? Kind of seems like by consent that seems all right. Okay, well that brings us to the end of that section of the agenda. Next up, commissioner comments. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any things that they would like to share?
I just want to thank all of you guys. I think you're a really great commission to serve on. I appreciate all of your personalities. I think this has been, I don't know, enjoyable. It's sort of weird, but I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Treasurer Butler. Any other comments? If not, I would like to share a couple of comments. We have had a changeover in commissioners for advisory positions. So we have a new commissioner who will be joining us, Carrie Champion. She's the director of the Wiley House. Unfortunately, that means that we are losing Duncan Campbell.
Oh, that's a big one.
And I wanted to take some time to thank Duncan for his decades of work on historic preservation around the state, his time at Ball State where he taught, and then all of the work that he did in town for like this building, Wiley House, Johnson's Creamery. Historic preservation in the city would not look the same if it wasn't for him. And so I just want to thank him in this venue for all of that work and all of the years that he spent on this commission in voting and non-voting roles. He is a font of knowledge, and hate to see him go, but I just want to send thanks to him.
I will miss his opinion, for sure.
So knowledgeable.
Yes, very knowledgeable.
Appreciated knowledgeable.
All right, next up is public comments. Are there members of the public who would like to speak? All right, if you would you can state your name and you have 3 minutes.
My name is James Ford. I just wanted to comment about something was discussed earlier today, and maybe this is something that has to work at the state level, but in a secondary school, if a teacher is absent, there's a pool of substitute teachers that they can call and say, hey, will you come in and sit in for my class that day? It seems like there could be some knowledgeable people or non-voting people who could stand in for a voting member who's going to be absent. They know they're going to be, so it wouldn't count against their
Oh, like have a proxy vote, like each person could have a proxy?
maybe.
That'd be an issue for the mayor, because the mayor appoints all the voting members. It's something that we've looked at in the past. It sort of runs into a brick wall there. Yeah.
No, I hear ya.
Are there any other public comments in the room? Any public comments online? No? Okay, well, we have come to the end of our agenda, so this meeting is adjourned.